Hello, Fredak here. Fred ACC, all one word. Alrighty, it is Thursday, June the 26th. It's about 8 p.m. East Coast time. Maybe 7 p.m. Somewhere between 7 and 8. XRP is at about $2.11. This one is XRP. What do I know? I'm going to share a lot of what I know with you guys. First up, I'd like to thank you all for being here. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. And as I've spewed on here many times, knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more power you have. Fredak does not do numerous takes. It's one and done. Yes, I've got some notes here. He's got notes. I find myself spewing stuff, and then later on I'm like, I forgot to mention this, to mention that. Once again, these are not financial advice things. These are just the ideas that are swirling around in Fredak's head. Why do I post the date and the price? Because I don't want anybody to accuse me of redboarding after the fact. Also, for all of my subscribers on here, I'm happy that you're with me. And I'm trying to smooth you out through the rough spots. It's hurry up and wait. The path to multimillionaire takes time. Sometimes it doesn't just happen like that. I'm not just drawing lottery ticket numbers out of thin air and it's like, whoa, you're a multimillionaire. It doesn't work that way. And I have warned you about the scammers, and I've warned all of you about listening to too many of the talking heads, because there's everybody on here to tell you why this, that, or the other thing is going to change your financial future in a big, big way. Everybody's selling something. I'm not selling anything to anybody. I'm just happy you're here. My enjoyment is the comments that I get from people. I do believe that XRP is going to have its moment in the sun. And I have shared with all of you that if anything comes along, I will not sell your souls nor my soul. I will always be upfront with all of you. I think I might have something that's interesting to start looking at financially. Alrighty, let's go to the videotape. We're going to cover a lot of different stuff here. It's going to be an interesting post. Hopefully I did thank all of you for being here today, but if I didn't, I thank you all for being here. It's like, yeah, the guy's senile. Listening to some senile guy. Oh well, if it makes sense, you grasp some of it. If it's garbage in one ear, out the other, garbage in, garbage out. As I've said many, many times. Let's go to the notes over here. Start out with the scammers. You've got to be worried about the scammers. Man, the stuff that I get in my email box, and I'm not on there every day all the time, but I get some pretty comical stuff. The latest one that I'm getting is these doctor's office, dentist's office. They're making appointments for me. And I get a notice from them. I didn't even make the appointment. And if you don't show up for your appointment, we're going to charge you $50 because you didn't cancel the appointment. People are out of their minds. When will it all end? All right, so there's a lot going on. Let's go with what do I know? These are just my opinions. The ideas swirling around in my head. What do I know? Let's start out with this open AI, artificial intelligence. I think it has the potential to open the door to a world of scammers. Human beings are of that nature. We always have been. You go back like 2, 3, 5,000 years, they were probably doing some kind of game with the cup with the ball underneath it, and somebody's underneath the table removing the ball or whatever. It's all an illusion. It's all a game. That's why you got to watch out for the scammers. Just remember the axiom. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And if it sounds like something that's going to help you out, oh, you can't miss out on this. Click on the link below. Well, you might be giving them access to all your computer and all your financial information. Just be careful out there. That's all I can tell you. Oh, I got bugs traveling around me here. Alrighty. AI, the world of scammers. My gut feeling is that shortly down the road, human beings will figure out how to manipulate it. How do you say that? I don't even understand AI all that well. I predate the beeper. But let's just say there's a stock that's MNOP. 20-cent stock. Penny stock. But if the people that are colluding behind it to try to draw suckers in can get 30, 40, 50, 80 people to make postings about MNOP, that they've got this new product that's going to beam me up, Scotty, and you can go to England in 5 seconds. There's people out there that will actually buy into it. And part of the selling shtick will be, hey, just go to AI and Google MNOP and you'll find out about this tremendous opportunity. Well, it might be getting set up as a scam job, as a hit job by human beings. That's my concern. In fact, I totally expect it to happen. If there's a way to manipulate AI for people to make the monies, fast money, easy money, scamming people, human beings will figure it out. So be cautious with everything you do out there. And as I always say, knowledge is power. Check out everything that FredAx shares on here. Double check everything. I don't know everything. I don't know anything. I'm just trying to learn something new every day. But I try to bring things your way that you're not going to get from all the other talking heads, whether it be good or whether it be bad. And I have a little bit of both in this posting. And I try to be very fair to not portray the hopium that, oh, XRP, when it goes to this, I always say if when, or try to say if when, and I think it's going to have a run. But let me go into all this here. First up, some people commented on my past postings. They said it cut out about halfway through with the volume. I checked it, my volume was fine. I was talking about the ETF with the XXRP. But I'm going to go back into that and revisit that. All right, what do I got here? The volume. The volume on XRP is so minimal compared to the bulk amount, the behemoth amount of billions of XRP that are out there. Still, I wish there was more transparency, and I look at things from the outside world. I try to be a realist. It's kind of something's not adding up with me with the XRP. Ripple, the company behind it, they should have every incentive to want this thing to go to $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $12, $15, $17. That increases their war chest. Yet it kind of doesn't seem like that. I mean, they're doing everything in the right way, but I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. There's not complete transparency. Because I strongly believe that with the SEC, if Apple does some kind of a deal with stock and they have some kind of a sale of stock, it gets recorded, it gets posted. XRP is not regulated, and I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Maybe nothing, maybe a lot, I just don't know. If some entity, White Rock, decides that they want to buy 700 million and they go to the Ripple company, can Ripple make an off the sidelines deal for $1.40 each? Not going to make the rest of us happy, but so I watch the volume on things. Volume tells me a lot. Volume is your best friend when it comes to knowing what's going on with anything supply and demand, whether it's real estate. We're going to get into that real estate thing, the housing market, the housing opportunity, the collapse that's underway. Go back to the notes here. Okay, so it says here I got to rehash about the XXRP, the bid and the sell. Alrighty. Something that FredAx has been a believer in for a long, long time is something called random mathematics. That I call it random mathematics. It's a FredAx special. Let's say you and I flip a coin 100 times each day for the month of June, and there's 30 days in June. Every day we flip the coin. I flip it, I say heads, you write down H. Flip it again, heads, you put H. Flip it again, it's tails, you put T. At the end of 30 days, most of those days, the law of averages with 100 or 1,000 flips is going to iron out to something that is a 50-50 proposition, mathematically. Some days it might be 47 heads, 53 tails. Other days it might be 50 heads, 50 tails. Other days it might be 51 tails, 49 heads. That's possible. But when you look through the data from all the H's and T's, there's going to be certain days where there was a run of heads for 9 in a row. Then there was a tails. and there was 6 more heads. So out of a 16 range, there was 15 of them were heads. And then it'll even out with more tails and some runs of tails, 3 or 4 tails, a heads, 2 heads, then 2 tails, 2 heads, then 4 tails. But there are certain streaks that occur, which is why I'm a believer in following streaks. When things are in motion in a certain direction, like momentum of something, you go with the momentum to try to stop a large boulder from rolling down a hill. It's a lot easier to get behind the boulder and push it a little faster. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but hopefully it does. The S-E-N-S-E sense. But we want to make C-E-N-T-S sense. Okay, so when it comes to, there's an ETF out there called XXRP. That's the symbol for it. It is a 2X bull XRP fund. Somehow, some way, they are leveraged that for XRP token movement, this ETF is going to move also, but it's going to move twice as quick. So you can either make a lot of money or you can lose a lot of money. I get all that. The best thing about this is that it's regulated by the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. What does that mean, regulated? That means it's right now about $25.10. Last I looked, I don't know. We'll call it $25.10 just for argument's sake. So if it's bidding $25.10 and it's offered for sale at $25.19, anybody that has an account with funds in their account can step in with an order to buy 100 XXRP at $25.11. You will be placed a penny higher than the others that are out there. Now, if others want to move in tandem with you or move ahead of you so that they're in line first for a market sell, then that's their prerogative, and you have the same prerogative. Now, let's just say it's bidding $25.10, and you put in a purchase to buy 100 XXRP at $25.11. You now become the highest bidding price. It doesn't guarantee you that you're going to own it. Someone out there in the world has to sell XXRP or short it at the market to you. You're standing there saying, I will buy this at $25.11. There's no backing away from it. If you put in to buy 15,000 of them, and somebody sells you 15,000 at $25.11, tap, tap, you're done. You own it. There's no calling up anybody and saying, I made a mistake, my kid put it in, or this or that, or whatever, I didn't want to own it. No, you have to honor the bid price that you have. Same thing on the offering price. So if something like XXRP is having some type of a slight surge upward, now this is probably going to only be viable between 4:30 and 4 o'clock. There's pre-market and there's aftermarket, but the volumes are very, very light on those. And I don't recommend trying to dabble on those. It's a very difficult game to play. So, let's say XRP, the token, is on a surge. It's up 6, 7, 8, 12, 15, 16 cents. Some kind of news is out on it and it's surging. XXRP, the ETF, is also going to be surging. You might feel inclined to just buy it at the market, whatever the highest offer price is, the highest selling price. You're taking from them. Or you might want to bid for it. So let's say we started out the day at $25.10 bidding and $25.19 offered. There's a 9-cent spread between it. Fine. It starts to surge and it goes up into the high $25.52 bid, $25.60 offered. Every surge usually has some kind of a zigzag to it, a little bit, at least a little bit of a sell down, a little bit. So when there's a sell down, you could attempt to try to buy it a penny above what the offering price is at. So if it was $25.52 and $25.60 offered, and now it starts to come down a little bit, there's some profit taking, and XRP starts to come down a penny or so. then probably people are going to start to sell to some of those bid prices. And if the bid is at $25.44, you might be able to go in at $25.45 and just sit there. You're not guaranteed to own it, but then all of a sudden, bing, somebody sells 300 and you own the 300 you were trying to buy because it was an at-the-market sell. So now you own it at $25.45. Then if it starts to turn up with the momentum that's been going on and XRP, the token, is back in play and they're bidding it upwards, this is going to start to surge upwards. So this is your potential opportunity to take advantage of juicing all of the spread. So now the bid price goes up a little bit higher from where you bought it, and it's $25.57 bid, and it's $25.66 offered. And you say, you know what, I'm going to take this little wave up. I bought 3,000 of them. I'm happy to pick up whatever it might be, 21 cents on 3,000, that's $630. So you put 3,000 to sell at $25.65, a penny below where the highest offer is at. If it's on a surge upwards, hopefully you'll be able to lose yours and lock in your profit. Now it may run a whole lot higher. That's part of the game you play. I've actually considered buying some of this thing with my IRAs and the Colonel's IRA, my wife. Why? Because I'm thinking that the other day when I saw it down below $22 as XRP, the token was down to the low twos, $2 and a penny, $2, and this thing was going below $22. And I'm thinking it's probably not going to stay down there. It's going to surge back up, which it did. It went over $26. I wouldn't have bought it for a short-term trade. A lot of me used to be into just the day trading world. There's nothing wrong with the position trading of a couple of days or a couple of weeks, or long-term trades for a few months or years. Now, I look at these other things like Coinbase, C-O-I-N. I don't know, 3 months ago it was below $200 per share. Today it had some huge spike up to like $375. Now the Wall Street world, they tend to know short-term what's coming in the near future. Do they know everything? No. There's plenty of times where they're completely wrong. But for coin to surge like that, and I didn't look at the other ones in the basket of things that are in play that are publicly traded on the stock market, but my gut feeling is that if coin was going up, there's some specific reason to it, probably the others, high tide is raising them upwards. They know something. Hello! Coin's not running up like that for no reason. It's running up like that because they're buying it, they're grabbing it. So those who were sellers of it, prematurely, they sold at 280, 290, and there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe they bought it at 220. They made a small killing on it, and they're like, you know what? I don't want to be involved with them. Taking the profit, nothing wrong with that. But yet, there's plenty of others. There's more demand than there is supply. And they must know something. Hello! That's the warning signal. Hello! Let's go back to the notes here. So from off of that, with the XXRP, should XRP, the token, become the go-to thing and surge to $7, $8, $9, $10, $12, that's 6 times where it's at. What is XXRP going to be at? They'll probably be at like $150, $200, maybe a lot more. Okay. Any questions you might have, comments, put them down below. Hit the likes button, smash the likes button, the don't likes button, whatever you might think. My hair, my t-shirt, whatever you got, it's all good. Okay, so what do I know? What I know is that if something evolves to being the new currency of the world, whether it's XYZ or if it's XRP, which I think everything points to it being XRP for so many reasons, there are going to be so many new products to come to the market. Just take the physical credit card. Amex, Visa, MasterCard. That card doesn't just come from out of like the sky. Someone manufactures those cards and they make money. There's so many different things that are branched out from the crypto world, if it takes, or any other world, any other product. I'm trying to keep my antenna open to what types of things. If you guys have any ideas of what you think is going to be the next cup holder, and I've used this one in the past for those of you who subscribe and watch the Fred Act postings. 25 years ago, cell phones were becoming prolific. They were all over the place, or growing. But automobiles, people were on their phone. I saw one the other day. A lady that looked like she was like 400 years old. Not that I should talk. She's driving along on the left hand. She's got the phone there. She's texting with one thumb. Are you kidding me? She's doing like 30 miles an hour on the right lane. She's in the right lane. That's good. On the highway. Something wrong with this picture. But there are going to be so many different offshoots of businesses that are going to be potential huge upside profit growth potentials. And I'm trying to keep an open mind to what some of those will become. Whether it's the holder for this, the this for that, the credit card for this, the gift card, whatever, the Target, Walmart for an XRP, XYZ card, whatever it might be. There are so many use cases for the potential of a new monetary global system. Think about that. It's endless. It is endless. There are so many different things that it will morph into. And my gut feeling is that it's only a question of time. What do I know? Hello? Well, that's what I know. That's just my opinion anyway. Am I caught in the hopium? Partly am. Probably am. Try to be aware of that. But you also have to be aware of the fact most people are not aware of what you guys are aware of. They're not watching Fred Act. They don't know. What do I know? But I know. Well, what do I know? What I know I'm sharing with you guys. Okay, so many use cases, 7. Okay, this is a good one here. The missed opportunities. Hello? Do you want to be the person that missed out on the opportunity to own XRP or just XRP straight out? You just buy some of this thing, and if it becomes the new $5 and $10 bills or whatever, you're in where the institutions really don't want you and I in. They don't want the Fred Acts of the world in on this thing here. At least that's what I believe. Why would they want? They don't want to spread the wealth, the pie. They want to dominate it all. That way they can control everything. Make a morsel from this, a morsel from that. Those morsels add up. James Carville, a billion here, a billion there. After a while, it adds up. So back to missed opportunity. Analogy example. There's a online company called Yahoo. Yahoo, check, do the fact check with Fred Ack. Yahoo, they had the opportunity to buy Google in Google's infancy. I think it was for something like $5 billion. $5 billion. But Yahoo balked on it. They didn't make the purchase. Missed opportunity. I thought I saw something that they also had the opportunity to purchase Facebook in Facebook's infancy. But again, they balked at it. They missed the opportunity. You don't want to miss the opportunities on XRP. And that's why you subscribe to Fred Ack. I would hope. Are you going to miss out on this opportunity and the future opportunities? Okay, I don't know. What are you going to say? I didn't know? No, you knew. You knew about it. All righty, we're jumping issues over here. The housing correction. We're in probably the 4th inning, the 5th inning. But it hasn't hit home yet. All the poor souls, the speculators that got in that were going to make easy money. It's starting to wear on them that the easy money's not there. Now it's starting to become a question of how much are you going to lose? Or are you going to lose everything? And I'm sorry if you're one of those speculators out there. I'm sorry about it. There is this thing called FHA loans, you put down 3.5%. There's also this thing called an ARM mortgage, ARM. It's an acronym. It stands for Adjustable Rate Mortgage. That's going to get calibrated like, I don't know, every 2 years or something. Well, if rates stay high and they go higher, people are going to start getting gutted. And I mean gutted. Because the people with the 3.5% down, let's call it 5%. You buy a house for $500,000, you put down $25,000, the price drops to $400,000, to $370,000, to $350,000. What are you going to do? You're going to say, Bank of America or Rocket Mortgage, here's the keys, they're in the mailbox, it's all yours. Actually, they'll stay as long as they can and get somewhat free rent for being there. And then sooner or later they'll get evicted, and everybody will be hoping the government's going to come and bail us out. I don't know. Bailout time is kind of, they've played a lot of those cards over the last 30, 40 years. They bailed things out. NASDAQ bubble. And I posted something on here a while back about the NASDAQ bubble with the chop. And all those people, they all moved over to the real estate world, where there was no checks and balances, but the money was there. And that set up the great collapse with the CMOs, the collateralized mortgages that were subprime packaged into prime, selling this huge package of, it's an analogy, prime meats. You've got filet mignon in here. You've got all the top quality stuff. The reality was it was all dog food and grizzle, or a lot of it packaged in there. So when it got exposed, somebody had to fall on the knife. That was Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers. Yeah, some of the other ones out there, they vulture picked everything up for pennies on the dollar. There's always gain and loss. It's ugly out there. But I want you guys to start to be aware of all these things, so you're not one of the ones getting picked apart by the vultures. The bulk of the people that are buying things now with very limited money down, they shouldn't be buying anything. And that's just setting us up for the 7th and 8th innings when they come to fruition. It's going to be ugly. Getting uglier all the time. Every day it's getting uglier. And what does all this do? It gives the current administration the excuse to blame the disaster on the past administration. It's the big delusion. The big delusion is out there. I mean, it's like kind of comical. I saw this back in the 90s. The NASDAQ bubble that was going on in the early 2001, 2002 in New York. They were interviewing licensed real estate brokers that were asking them. The question was, how long can houses increase 20% a year? And their comment was, forever. Forever. When I read that, I said, it is inevitable. There's going to be a tremendous collapse. What moron would think that anything can go up 20% a year forever? We don't live in an economic world that everything rises 20% to support that 20% increase. Think about that. And that's kind of where we're at now, the speculative bubble, 0% money 6, 7, 8 years ago. Back in 07, 08, 09, when things got ugly, the government opened up the water faucets. They avoided a lot of the pain for a lot of people. And COVID came along. Okay. That just added gasoline to the fire. The speculating ran wild. Well, now it's going the other way, and it's going to start to hurt. And it's probably about time. You can't just print money out of thin air forever. And I've voiced this many, many times. So that is the housing correction that is coming. It's a recipe for disaster. You got to know that. You got to see it. It's not that hard to see, actually. It's right in front of you to see it. All right, what else have we got on here? Okay. The issues are magnified, but capitalism will address it. all of this stuff is still in its infancy. Try to think of it all. What will come in the future? What will the future be? Hello! That means listen up. You had the covered wagon. Then along came the automobile. From the automobile, and back in the time of the covered wagon, there were offshoots of businesses that made money for the covered wagon, off of the automobile, spare tires, waxing, wax on, wax off, many other different things. All of these different products were designed to make life easier. So, if the rails are in place and there's a cryptocurrency that can move money instantly instead of 2.5 days from the US down to Brazil or to Germany or whatever, and it doesn't cost the exorbitant prices that it costs, it's a fraction of that, minuscule. Hello, it is inevitable that it will proliferate, it will grow, it makes life easier. Now I'm seeing this stuff called RL Treasury, asset managers, FIDENT, loans. Hello, that's the tip of the iceberg, it's the beginning. They're telling you what's coming. Watch the big businesses. They will forecast to you what is coming in the near future. Which is why when I look at something like COIN, the stock coin, do your homework, take a look at it. It didn't surge like that for no reason. It surged because there's more demand than there is supply. They know something's going on. Now, let's go over to the flip side. On the flip side, Fred Act does not tell you what you want to hear. No, Fred Act brings you what I think inside my head. Could Ripple become too dominant? Think about that. Could they start to dominate just too much of the landscape? Absolutely. No, I can't imagine that the head honchos, the think tank, the brainiacs over at Ripple are not aware of this. They have to be cautious, not to be controlling all of the strings on the puppet. If they have too much control of everything, could it cause a backlash? Think about that. Could that cause a backlash? Could that give the U.S. government or the governments of the world the ammunition to step in and say, we have to do this for the good of everybody because you control everything? It's almost like Big Brother. Alrighty, so we spoke about the potential housing crash that's going on, the economic collapse that's going on, malls are getting hurt. My thought is batten down the hatches, start to figure out what's the most important things in your life, because things are getting tight. The writing's on the wall. Repo rates, everywhere you look, at all the different barometers. There was something many years ago, there was a newspaper in New York called the New York Times. The Sunday edition had like 16 sections to it. One of the sections was unemployment. There were people that they would just take that unemployment section and put it on a scale and jot down the weight of it. And they would just chart that. If the weight was increasing, they knew the economy was moving forward, that there's more jobs in demand. They're advertising for more help wanteds. If the weight of it is decreasing, the economy is heading in the wrong direction. If you think about that, it makes a lot of sense. Both CENTS and SENSE. At any rate, I've blabbled way too long for today. I want to thank you all for being here. May all your days be winning ones. We'll be back to you soon.